My name is Dr. Shanik Wick, and I am a psychiatrist and medical director of Neuralia TMS. You are probably wondering what this is. TMS stands for transcranial magnetic stimulation. It is an approved, evidence-based, non-drug therapy for the treatment of conditions such as depression, PTSD, OCD, and chronic pain. In Australia, it is also Medicare subsidised for the treatment of depression. It is non-invasive and free from the side effects often felt with medication. At Neuralia, sessions range from 10 to 30 minutes. Clients will be relaxing on a recliner chair while watching Netflix, listening to music, or chatting to our friendly Neuralia staff. It can be safely used with or without antidepressant medication. You are also free to return to your usual activities straight after treatment. TMS uses a focused magnetic field to stimulate parts of the brain that regulate mood. Such areas are thought to be underactive in people with depression. So why can stimulating the brain lead to symptomatic relief? Our brains help us organize our thoughts by creating channels that communicate with one another using electrical and chemical mediators. Every idea or emotion has a certain pathway that these signals will follow. The more this occurs, the better our brain gets at doing whatever we practice. This is similar to muscle memory, but this time it involves the nerves of our brain. Let's take depression as an example. To see which areas of a typical brain were active, researchers used a functional PET scan and labeled it to light up oxygen and glucose. Why oxygen and glucose? Because these are the fuels for your brain. To compare the typical brain of someone with depression, they looked at equivalent scans and noticed that the typical brain had more activity in certain regions, such as the frontal lobe and parts of the limbic system, which is the emotional center of our brain. In a depressed individual, the limbic system can be thought as being out of practice, as seen by the areas of darkness due to its inability to utilize glucose or oxygen as a fuel. Now let's have a closer look at the Neuralia TMS machine. Initially, current passes out of the power socket into the power supply. Here, the energy is stored in the capacitor. The very top part of the machine is called the pulse waveformer. Here we are able to manipulate the current to influence a magnetic field. The final part of the machine is a coil. The coil is simply a loop of wire. When electricity passes through a loop, the magnetic field is generated. Here, the magnetic field is able to pass through the skull and activate the nerve cells in the brain. This creates a cascading effect in which not only do nerves in the prefrontal cortex fire, but so do downstream nerves connected to the prefrontal cortex. This includes the much deeper areas like the all-important limbic system area. That is the emotional center of the brain. This stimulation occurs approximately 70 to 90,000 times over the course of a full treatment. Why so many times? Well, let's say you want to learn the violin. What do? Well, you would pick up the violin and play a song. But what if you wanted to be really good at it? The author and researcher Malcolm Gladwell said in his book Outlier that to master anything you must repeat it at least 10,000 times, at which point the process becomes internalized. Your fingers know exactly where to go. It's now muscle memory. This is how TMS is thought to work. When the brain is stimulated repeatedly over consecutive days, then neuroplasticity can occur. In other words, the increasing of connections between nerve cells. Through the continuous repetition of these positive pathways, your brain will become more of a master at recognizing and feeling happiness and joy. If you would like to learn more about the science of TMS, TDCS, ketamine, psychedelics, and much more, please visit our education portal at neuraliatms.com.au. Alternatively, you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram for up-to-date information.